Thank you. Good afternoon. Appreciate everybody for being here. I'm Assemblymember Phil Ting, and honored to announce the introduction of ACA 11, which is a constitutional amendment to eliminate the Board of Equalization in 2026. In 2017, as Assembly Budget Chair, I was proud to lead the effort where we removed about 90% of the BOE staff and formed two new agencies, the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, as well as the Office of Taxpayer Appeals. And that agency was needed to be removed and created because we saw numerous issues with that current board as well as past boards, where sales tax wasn't able to be collected and distributed. We had local governments complain that they could not get their access on revenue. We also heard about a variety of appeals and backlogs, how people couldn't get their hearings. In fact, the Office of Taxpayer Appeals has been able to clear that backlog, as well as CDTFA, and that backlog went as far back as 1998. So what we've seen is significant efficiencies by creating these two new agencies with new management, new direction. What has been left is an agency that was created in 1879 and founded at the times when the railroads were the dominant industry in California. In fact, there was significant concern that the railroads had too much influence in the legislature, so by creating an independent tax body, that there could be a more fair tax structure on the railroads. And so what remains is a four-member elected board plus the controller that oversees the assessment of utilities, the assessment of the railroads, and also oversees the 58 county assessors in terms of offering them advice, offering them best practices, doing audits, doing what they call them surveys. And as being a former assessor, we definitely do find that particular advice very helpful. So what we want to do is put forth in front of the voters a constitutional amendment to remove the elected body and the staff. It would save our state anywhere between $27 to $35 million. And as you know, we're starting to move more in a deficit year. We feel like that money could be better spent in a variety of other purposes. And we want to make sure that those functions would then be absorbed either by CDTFA or OTA or some other agency, and we think that they would be more efficient over time. Right now, just to give you a set of context, the BOE was close to about 5,000 staff. We removed about 4,500 staff at that time in 2017, so about 500 or so staff remained at that particular time, and that's what remains of an agency led by four individuals. And again, this is not about any individuals. It's not about the job of any elected individuals. Many of them are new. Many of them have only served a very short time. This is about structurally what's needed to be done. It's the only elected tax agency in the entire country. There's a reason other states haven't really moved this direction, because it really wasn't seen as a beacon of efficiency. We actually have a tax agency that's seen as very well run, which is the Franchise Tax Board. It's considered a very well run agency, and contrasted that to the performance at the Board of Equalization, it was seen as an agency that needed significant improvement. Now that we've moved that agency into two different bodies, we've seen improvement, we've seen greater processes, greater customer served, and more appeals. The one part that we had hoped when we moved the agency in 2017 was, again, that the board members would be taxpayer advocates. And what we had hoped is that the board members could be continued taxpayer advocates. We believe that they continue to do so, but given that they're each serving districts and representing about 10 million people each, it's quite it's quite a big task for them to do that. Since most of them aren't as well known as legislators, whether it's your state senator, state assembly member, we believe that the legislature and those of us in the legislature can continue to be taxpayer advocates because we're more readily available. We have more offices. We also have the ability to be, as responsive as any of the board members. So, with that, I wanted to introduce one of the first two joint authors. Proud to have Assemblymember Jackie Irwin speak on this bill as well.
Thank you very much, Assemblymember Ting. Assemblymember Ting has done an incredible amount of work on this issue, and I think he covered the important points already. I'm Jackie Irwin, and I cover Ventura County and LA County, and excited to be working on this issue. The BOE is a vestige of the 19th century that existed before most people had indoor plumbing. Since 2017, we've seen that the BOE is unnecessary and that its former duties can be carried out much more efficiently and effectively by the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration and the Office of Tax Appeals. The BOE's remaining authority is very limited. In fact, the BOE contracts with CDTFA to carry out many of its administrative duties. California no longer needs 3 taxing agencies. In the interest of good government and efficiency, it is time to allow the voters to remove this antiquated entity. Next, I would like to introduce Assemblymember Cotty Petrie-Norris. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Irwin and Assemblymember Ting as well. I am Assemblymember Cotty Petrie-Norris. I represent California's 73rd Assembly District in Orange County. As elected representatives, we are the stewards of the public's trust. We're also the stewards of the public dollar. And this is a responsibility that each and every one of us takes very, very seriously. As chair of the Assembly's Committee on Accountability and Administrative Review, one of my top priorities in the legislature is ensuring that we are spending your tax dollars efficiently and effectively. And the simple fact is that the BOE has not been an efficient or effective use of taxpayer dollars for many, many years. As you heard from Assemblymember Ting, previously, the board was chronically mismanaged, mishandled billions of public dollars, and following the reorganization that Assemblymember Ting led in 2017, the BOE is now simply obsolete. This measure and this proposal would save California between $27 and $35 million. That is a lot of money. That's a lot of resources that can be much better deployed to tackle the many pressing challenges facing the great state of California today. I want to thank my colleagues for your partnership and your leadership on this, and most importantly, thank you for your steadfast commitment to saving money for California taxpayers. I think with that, we will go ahead and open it up for any questions.
Laura?
Hi, yes. If you get to the ballot in 2024, who do you see as the constituency or interest groups who would help campaigns to get this passed? And is there enough of a public interest in considering this on the ballot?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. We think if we can get it on the ballot that it was almost surely passed because it's in this interest of the people. It's so clear that if we're to get on the ballot, that I think given people's sentiment about government efficiency, that we would see a significant amount of interest in it.
But a lot of the groups that like the BOE or wanted to keep it would be mounting potentially a campaign. See this being something that requires a lot of resources or money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it's a good question. I think at this point we are focused on getting it through the legislature at this point, and obviously should it be able to get onto the ballot, I think we'd work on the political piece next. But again, I think that given the simplicity of what the measure is and given what it's trying to accomplish, I think it would have a very good chance of passing. Yes.
So, and when you look at, would this prompt some other larger reorganization of tax agencies? You know, the Board of Equalization chair serves on the FTB, and that's still several tax agencies. So
That-
there's always been this idea that there should be a larger unification.
That reorganization was contemplated in 2017, but we ended up landing on the current structure. At this point, there really hasn't been any further discussion about any, any greater consolidation than this. You good? Okay.
All right.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.